Okay, here we are. We're finally live. Hey everyone, how's it going? This is the George here. I used to go as just George for those of you who've been following me for a while, but I've been doing some channeling rebranding. And I know I said I was going to start the stream at 5, but I figured let's start 5 minutes early because I don't want to make the stream very long. Maybe down the road we will do some long streams, sorry, but for right now we're going to make this not very long. We're going to cover a few topics, but also explain my channel, explain the rules of this channel, and a couple of topics that I have planned. So, for those of you who have been following me for over a year, I've been on YouTube for a good year now. I wouldn't count 2 years because I did do one video in 2020, but I didn't make videos on a consistent basis. There was only one video. So, basically, this has been over a year of YouTube for me. And it's been a pretty interesting year for me. Talking about Spider-Man No Way Home last year, talking about some of the other things like the Flash film for a little bit, and also reviewing other movies. That's been what I've been doing a lot this year. And now I want to do my own streaming now, and this is basically my test run stream. So we're hoping it goes well. I'm not expecting a whole lot with this stream. Just want to make sure I know how to do the streams. But also, I want to go over some rules of the streams because I'm going to have my chats open. I know a lot of people aren't watching this right now. Which, by the way, I'm not going to be doing streams on Friday afternoons. If I'm ever doing streams, they're most likely going to be on weekend days. That's right. I'll probably do weekend streams instead. Like, the only reason I'm doing this stream today is because I have off today, but I'll be going back to work before I know it. So this is just like my little vacation time right now. So basically, I've done streams before, but I've been on streams. I've been a guest panelist on streams, but this is the first time I'm going to be running a stream. And so I just want to go over some stuff about how I want to do my streams. As far as the chat goes, there's no one in the chat right now, but like if people do appear in the chat, oh wait, I do see someone in the chat. It is CJH. Hey, CJH. Great that you can be catching the stream. Anyways, as far as the chat goes, I want to keep things nice in the chats. I mean, we can have disagreements, but I don't want any nastiness in the chats. I don't want like childish bickering. Listen, I'm a counselor at work, so like I'm not going to be afraid to scold people in the chat when I'm used to doing it at work every day. So I don't want to scold anyone. But like I said, it's great to see you in the chat, CJH. Um, and also, your behavior in the chat is going to reflect on whether or not I will invite you on these streams. And yeah, thanks, CJH. Hey, CJH is awesome. You know, he's always supporting the other YouTubers. Go check him out. But yeah, behavior in the chat's going to reflect on if I'm going to invite people in my streams later on. Now, the first like few streams or so, I'm not going to have other guests on just yet because I want to get used to doing this myself, running the streams myself. But once I get more comfortable, once I get the hang of it, maybe start getting some more attention, I will start inviting people on. But I'm going to watch as to who I'm going to invite. So behavior in the chat's going to decide that. No fighting about Snyderverse. We can debate Snyderverse, CJH. I don't mind debating that. But let's just keep things nice. Let's keep things respectful. And let's not have any childish bickering. And I see, hey, Arkham Gaming. Arkham Gaming is another great channel, especially if you're into the Arkham games. So please check him out as well. But no, we can have debates, but let's not like take it out of hand. I don't want name calling. I don't want childish bickering. I want things to be nice. Well, not like overly nice, but just like calm. Now, I'm not going to be dropping StreamYard links into the chat just yet because while I trust these guys, I trust CJH and Arkham Gaming because I've been on streams with them. They're awesome guys. there's certain people in the chats, like there's bot and spam accounts in these chats that are way too bizarre. Like if you're ever like watching one of Mad Max's streams, like some like weird spam or bot accounts like start coming in. It's like those like gross, inappropriate spam accounts. Yeah, I don't want like those crazy people on there. And oh, thanks, CJH. It means a lot to me. And Daniel Martin's been a supporter of this channel. He's been one of my first viewers. Great that you can be catching me, Daniel. It's always good to have your support. But yeah, I'm gonna wait to drop StreamYard links in the chat. If I'm gonna be sending StreamYard links, it's gonna be to YouTubers that I trust, YouTubers that have let me on their channels before, that have been very respectful to me, who have valued my opinion. And I've never had a problem with another YouTuber. So yeah, I could probably do that. That I'll be sending links in the future to YouTubers. I don't need any mods right now, CJH. Once like I get the hang of this, I will start deciding who my mods are. You're probably gonna be one of my first mods, though, because you're always awesome, man. And I'm hoping we can do that Fantastic Four watch party that you want to do. Maybe not on my channel, but maybe someone else's channel, maybe Max's channel. And yeah, Daniel Martin, he is awesome. He's one of the best ones out there. So now, as far as if you're ever going to become a guest on this show, like I said, I'm not going to be doing guests for a while, but if you are, it's going to be people that I trust. It can be close friends. Like I've got some friends that are outside the YouTube span that I might invite, and I got some friends in the YouTube community that I'm going to invite. I trust them, but like I said, if I start getting more guests on, let's be respectful. And also, let's not do any name calling. Let's value everyone's opinion. Like I said, I always feel like my opinion has been valued on other channels, and I want to value everyone else's opinion. Especially because Movie Talk to me it's changed. Like I've been watching YouTube for 14 years now. And one of the first YouTube channels I used to watch was Jeremy Johns. And I just remember how YouTube used to be like, we just review movies, talk about movie news. But like the game has changed in the last few years or so. Since like 2016, 2017, I feel like a lot has changed. So I want to try to get back to that more old school vibe, that more respectful, fun vibe, because we are talking about things that we love. We are talking about movies and shows and video games that we love to watch. And I try doing that on my channel. Most of the movies that I have been reviewing are movies that I love, that are special to me. I was thinking doing... Yeah, that's fine if you want to do it on your channel, CGH. That's fine. Especially because you're the one that's very excited about doing it. And we got Andrew Casali. Hey, Andrew. How's it going, man? And yeah, Arkham, you're always respectful. When we do our like streams with Aaron, you're awesome. You're one of the best ones out there, man. Fantastic Four. Here's the thing: the Fantastic Four movie had a good cast. Like I just wish it had a better story. Like the cast worked, but I just wish it had a better story. Honestly, I think Spider-Man 3 is underrated, Andrew. Personally, I enjoy Spider-Man 3. I'm not keen on Topher Grace's Venom, but I like Thomas Hayden Church as Sandman a lot. I think they should have waited to use Venom in a fourth film. I understand nostalgia. Listen, there's a lot of movies that I'm nostalgic for. I did a review on the 2007 Transformers movie yesterday. It's not that great of a movie, but I got nostalgia for it. I love that movie. And yes, you are correct, Arkham Gaming. Movie Talk is off the hinges now. And it started, I don't know, I think it started after The Last Jedi with some of these channels that like kind of lost it. Look, I understand not liking The Last Jedi, but the way Movie Talk has become. It's become like a culture war kind of thing, and that's not something I want to do on this channel. And then obviously the stuff with what's been going on with Snyderverse stuff, it's like we've kind of forgot like why we talk about this stuff, which is we enjoy it. We love this stuff. I love talking about the Spider-Man movies. I had fun reviewing the Spider-Man movies last year. I've enjoyed reviewing and watching the Kevin Smith movies lately. Yeah, they're my inspiration, Daniel. That's why I love Chris Stuckman and Flickpick. I used to watch those guys a lot in my later high school years and my college years. Those were my go-to guys. I would listen to them talk while I was doing my homework in college. So yeah, I'm inspired by them because that's when I started thinking about doing a YouTube channel, watching them because I was like, wow, these guys like they have the same tastes as me and like they're just like they just start off as ordinary guys. So if they can do it, like why not the rest of us? I agree with that CJH. I think that was supposed to be the original intent. They were gonna split Spider-Man 3 into two movies, but I think Sony or someone decided against that. I'm fine with that, Andrew. I'm fine with that. Listen, I don't hate Topher Grace's Venom. I like Topher Grace a lot. Um, it's not that Tom Hardy's jokey. I just feel like his Venom design is better, and I enjoy Tom Hardy more as an actor. But again, I still like Spider-Man 3 a lot. But listen, I understand that's the version that you prefer. I know you're a Sam Raimi Spider-Man guy Andrew. So I understand. Yeah, movie talk is basically about ranting. It's basically about getting rage clicks and drama. There's always so much drama. And listen, I used to watch some of these channels that ranted about The Last Jedi because I was disappointed in The Last Jedi, like many people. But I wasn't hating it for the reasons why some people were. And then they kind of just went off the rails with it. I don't know. That's why I don't really even talk about Star Wars that much. Maybe down the road I'll talk about Star Wars, but yeah, I'm not into the rants. I'm into just getting down to, what I enjoy about something, what I think can improve, what didn't work for me, and then just giving my final thoughts on it. Because listen, all these people, regardless of how good or bad these movies are, they're putting a lot of effort and money into it. Like they're taking a lot of time out of their schedule to try to entertain us. Oh, come on. Oh my. I'm not even going to talk about that one from yesterday. Oh my goodness. Some of the takes that I was seeing yesterday. Good lord. Oh gosh. Oh my goodness. Listen, in all fairness, uh oh my goodness. Sorry, Andrew. Sorry that, She-Hulk hasn't worked for you. Um but yeah, back to the whole state of movie talk. Like I said, like my inspirations were Chris Stuckman, John Flickinger, aka the Flick Pick, and Jeremy Johns. Like it was like those three guys that really like inspired me to not just like review movies, but also give like other movies a try. Like I've always enjoyed watching movies, and I'll probably do a future stream about my favorite childhood movies, the movies that I watched before I got into like watching movies like on a daily basis, the movies that inspire me. But that's basically what I want to try to do on this channel. And I know there's a lot of controversy going on with movie talk nowadays. I'm not just talking about the whole Snyderverse drama or whatever with She-Hulk. I'm not even going to talk about that much. We had a new Lord of the Rings show come on yesterday, Rings of Power, which has stirred a lot of controversy. And I'm not going to talk a whole lot about Rings of Power. These are just my brief thoughts on it. And I know, Daniel, I still trying to figure it out. So, anyways, as far as Ring of Power goes, I mean, I enjoy the costume designs. I enjoyed the setting. I enjoyed the soundtrack. It looks very good, but I kind of had two concerns. Now, the one concern is more like a half concern. Some of the acting was good. Some of the acting came across as like a CW show acting. But the thing is, there's room for improvement. And sometimes it takes a while for a show to pick up. And a couple of episodes don't really determine how a show is going to go. Like, take the Book of Boba Fett for a second. The first few episodes were all right. But then once we got into the Mandalorian stuff, Mando, Ahsoka, Grogu, the show really picked up and gave us some of the best episodes of Disney Plus Star Wars. So, like, if I ever like review a show, I'm gonna approach it like overall, not just like episode by episode. I'm gonna approach it as like the overall series. I mean, I always say that a show can have so many great episodes, but a few not so good or even bad episodes. I remember the Hey Arnold cartoon, fantastic cartoon, one of my top 10 favorite cartoons ever. The episode Arnold betrays Iggy is one of the worst episodes of any show. Like, that like betrayed everything Hey Arnold stood for, and even the creator hated that episode. Let's check the chat. The Hulk has not been great since Edward Norton was recasted. Here's the thing: I like Mark Ruffalo in the first Avengers film and Thor Ragnarok a lot, but I will admit he has been a neglected property of the MCU. I will admit he does get neglected compared to some of the other heroes, and I think that's on this whole Universal distribution thing. Like, here's the thing, like, Universal has not done anything with the Hulk, so Marvel's kind of had to do things themselves. Hopefully, if the rumors are true that the Hulk rights go back to Marvel in 2023, they can do something differently with the Hulk. Yeah, that's fine. Listen, talk about what makes you happy, what's positive. And I like that you're doing that, Arkham. Yeah, I only really talk about DC live action movies when I review them myself. I wanted to cover Flash news, but it feels like a soap opera with how Ezra Miller behaves, and that's a topic for a different stream. Yeah, I'm seeing Jaws in IMAX as well, Daniel Martin. I've never even seen a film in IMAX to begin with. Like, I remember when I went to Liberty Science Center, we watched like a documentary in an IMAX like theater, but this is Jaws, and I can't wait to see Jaws in IMAX. Like, I've always enjoyed Jaws, but to see one of one of the like godfathers of summer blockbuster in IMAX, that's going to be exciting to watch. But as far as the Rings of Power go, my other problem with the show, besides some of the performances, although not all of them were bad, some of them were very good, is the pacing. Now, I love the Lord of the Rings movies. I love the Hobbit movies as well, despite some of the problems they have. The pacing here, I don't know, if maybe it's because this is a show instead of a movie. It just felt even slower. And maybe it's also due to the fact that I'm not invested in these characters yet compared to how invested I was with the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit characters. I don't know. I feel like this is a show that needs some time for me. I don't think it's terrible. Maybe I need to go back and rewatch it. I did rewatch it this morning, and I will say I like episode 2, especially the stuff with the dwarves. But I think this is a show that I'm going to need some time to adjust to. See more of the chat. Listen, I would love to see Sam Raimi's Spider-Man movies in IMAX. I wish I got to see them in 3D as well. I will say this: I know it's not your kind of Spider-Man movie, Andrew, but I remember I saw The Amazing Spider-Man 10 years ago in 3D, and even though it's just a good movie, I don't love it as much as the other Spider-Man movies. It was still a fun experience to see Spider-Man in 3D. Like, that was very fun to watch in 3D. The week-to-week reviews are so up and down. Much easier to judge a series as a whole. Yeah, that's basically it. Like, I know some people like to do the episode-by-episode reviews, And look, I join Aaron World Order on these reviews on Saturdays in the afternoons. But I don't give letter grades. I basically just talk about what I think about the episode. If I'm going to do like a letter grade or like a number grade, I'm just going to do it on the overall series. That's just how I'm going to handle it. Only because, like I said, one week you can have a great episode and one week you can have a terrible episode. Yeah, that's fine. I know you like Keaton Batman as well. Listen, that's a childhood classic of mine too. I'll be talking about that film when I do my childhood classic movies. And look, I like Michael Keaton as Batman, and I'm actually going to get into some DC talk because there's a lot to talk about with DC. I still got to watch House of Dragons, but I've heard some great stuff about it. Yep. Yeah, I agree with you. Listen, Spider-Man 2 is still my favorite Spider-Man movie. As much as I love No Way Home, Spider-Man 2 is still the king for me. Like, to me, like, I've rewatched that movie so many times. It's one of my top 20 favorite movies of all time. And Spider-Man 2002 is one of my top 3 favorite solo movies. Not solo movies, origin movies of all time. But yeah, let's get in some Warner Brothers and DC news because this has been a roller coaster of a ride for DC fans and Warner Brothers fans. And this has been going on for the last few weeks, and it started off with the Batgirl's cancellation. Like, I remember coming home from work that day and just finding out that Batgirl just got canceled out of nowhere. And that was disappointing because I was looking forward to it. Michael Keaton, I was looking forward to seeing Michael Keaton return. And I know he's gonna be in the Flash movie, but I was looking forward to seeing more of him in Batgirl. I was looking forward to seeing what Leslie Grace can do with the role because she seemed very passionate and excited about it. I was looking forward to seeing more J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon since we didn't see a lot of him in either version of Justice League. Brendan Fraser as Firefly, that I was looking forward to as well. But they canceled that as well as the sequel to Scoob. Like, those cancellations just came out of nowhere. And then you've got all this other stuff happening. They're canceling all this other animated stuff. And now they're going to sell off some of this animated stuff. Hold on. I saw Jaws during the pandemic when theaters were trying to stay open, playing classics like Scream, but never in IMAX. Yeah, I heard some of the theaters were. Here's the thing. The theaters by where I live, they didn't reopen until March of last year. So I had to watch like a lot of movies on TV or DVD. Oh, wow, they played Scream as well. Scream's another favorite horror film of mine. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Jaws tomorrow. But anyways, back to the topic of the Batgirl cancellation, all that. I never even heard of a funeral screening before. Like, when David Zaslav says we're going to do a funeral screening of a movie, that's like, what? And now we're never going to see this movie, and it's kind of sad. And I know people say this movie was going to be terrible and all this. But in all honesty, even if the movie landed up being bad, I still want to see it because the directors, the cast and crew, they put so much effort, so much time into it. That's why I try to be respectful with my movie reviews because I know a lot of these people, they're sacrificing a lot of time and energy into making these movies. So I try to be as respectful as I can, and I would like to see what this Batgirl movie was really like. And they were working on the scores for this movie when this cancellation happened, and apparently they were going to replicate what Tim Burton brought with his score, Danny Elfman's score, basically. So that's very sad that happened. I'm kind of confused about this because technically, Andrew Garfield would be under the Sony branch. I feel like Toby and Andrew that announcement I think would be something at a Sony event, not a D23 event. Like, I would expect them to make an announcement of Tom Holland being in in another MCU movie at D23. That's weird. That's interesting. But yeah, David Zaslav, he's not holding back on the cartoons either. A lot of cartoons are getting canceled. A lot of them are getting deleted, wiped away like Thanos wiped away half of humanity in Infinity War. I think Uncle Grandpa was a casualty to this Infinity Train, and the animators were caught off guard. And also the directors of Batgirl. See, it's not so much the cancellations that bug me. I think it's more the fact that these creators are not being let known ahead of time. That's what's bugging me. That's what's being annoying. Because David Zaslav, the impression that we got when David Zaslav was coming in, and when David Zaslav basically said was, we want to bring talent back. We want to make talent feel welcome. And yet he's pushing away talent. It's mostly the animated talent. And I know animation may not be a high priority for him, but that could be key to your streaming services. People want to come for classic cartoons. Like, you can't just expect everyone that has Disney Plus for Disney Plus to be watching just Marvel and Star Wars stuff. They're probably watching some of their childhood cartoons on there or shows. Same thing with Paramount Plus. People are watching the classic Nickelodeon stuff on there as well as the Star Trek and other stuff that's on Paramount Plus. Yeah, I wish we had an idea what Zaslav's 10-year plan was. Like, my frustration is just like, I just wanted to see how this movie was. And I was excited for this movie because of Leslie Grace as Batgirl. She seemed very excited for the role. Seeing more Keaton Batman, and Brendan Fraser. I grew up watching the Mummy movies. The Mummy is another one I'm going to bring up when I do my childhood film stream. But yeah, I loved watching the Mummy growing up. And Brendan Fraser was like, he was my that was my Indiana Jones. The Mummy was my Indiana Jones as a kid. Okay, so Arkham Gaming asks, why do people get mad when you correct people and tell them Bill Finger is the correct iteration of Batman and Bob Kane iteration isn't really Batman? See, it feels like a lot of people are torn on their iterations of Batman. Like, here's the thing, like a lot of people I notice are vocal about liking the Dark Knight Returns version of Batman. A lot of people are very vocal about loving the Ben Affleck version of Batman. Like, it's become more vocal, I feel like, the last few years since the Snyder Cut movement really picked up. At the end of the day, we're going to love what we love. We're going to love what Batman comics or Batman stories we're going to love. Let's see. Andrew Casali told Tobey Maguire we should hang out more. Hint, hint, Secret Wars. There's been rumors. I would love to see both of them in Secret Wars. I would love to see a full-fledged Spider-Verse film with them and Tom Holland as well. I mean, could Madam Web open the door to that? I'm not sure. I wanted to get into some DC talk, but hey, we can talk. You can ask me some Marvel questions in the chat if you want. But yeah, no, I would love to see them in Secret Wars. I would love to see. What I would love to see if it was possible in Secret Wars is to see the original X-Men cast also appear. Maybe that can be the introduction of the X-Men to the MCU. And they're with like Toby and Andrew, and it's like all the guys that aren't from the main MCU just like having a team up scene, like one fight scene together. That is something I would love to see. Yeah, I'm actually going to get into that next, Daniel. So Batman is such a key IP to have. It makes much more sense to keep the Batman animated series exclusive to HBO Discovery. Yeah, no, I understand that as well because I'm actually going to get into that. The whole Batman Cape Crusader thing. So let me see if I can get it. Be patient with me. This is my first stream, so I'm trying to. Wait, no. Okay. So, okay, is it coming up well? Yeah, it's coming up well. So, the crazy thing that is happening with this whole animation thing is that they're selling off Batman Cape Crusader, a show that Bruce Timm, Matt Reeves, and J.J. Abrams were involved in. And I get it, people are very conflicted about JJ because of how Star Trek has turned out under him, although I still love the first Star Trek film that he directed. How Star Wars turned out under him. Like, it feels like the only movie franchise that really got better after he left or he touched was Mission Impossible. But the two key people here, Bruce Timm and Matt Reeves. Bruce Timm, like, he was behind the Batman animated series, which sparked the DC animated universe from the 90s and 2000s. Now, for people around my age, maybe a few years younger or older, people who are older than me, it just feels like this has got nostalgia vibes, Cape Crusader. And this is something to be excited for because the DC animated universe is an animated universe for anyone, not just kids, but for adults my age, adults a bit younger than me who grew up on this stuff, adults older than me. And I'll be honest, I'm not big on how the cow looks. Yeah, the cow's still a bit weird, but this is something to be excited for. Now, the good news is this show's not canceled. It's going to get shipped off to somewhere else. In sports terms, let's say it's getting traded somewhere. But some of the rivals that you can ship this off to, Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, if it goes to Hulu, I think that's a bad look because Disney owns Hulu. So Disney's going to have their hands on a Batman property. And I don't think CJH is in the chat anymore, but CJH keeps bringing up in our conversations that if Hulu buys Batman Cape Crusader, that could start a path to Disney owning DC. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but that would definitely be a bad look. I would like to see an animated Spider-Verse. I would like to see like Spectacular Spider-Man 90s Spider-Man like have like a multiverse adventure. That would be fun to see. But I still don't think they should have canceled Spectacular Spider-Man. Yeah, I get he's focusing on live action DC projects. But if you want to compete with Disney Plus, you got to get some of the animated stuff in there as well. You got to get some of the family projects in there. Yeah, no, the Mummy, I'm pretty sure, was the first PG-13 film I was ever allowed to watch. I think it was my dad that would let me watch it. And anytime I visited my grandmother, I would watch it nonstop because I loved it so much. I hope so too, Andrew. I love Kevin Conroy as the voice of Batman. And listen, that teaser we got last year, that little like black and white teaser we got at Fandom, that was very interesting. I very much enjoyed that. So I'm just gonna look and see what else. So it's not just Batman the Cape Crusader. Merry Little Batman, The Day the Earth Blew Up, a Looney Tunes movie, Bye Bye Bunny, a Looney Tunes musical. Did I Do That? That to the Holidays, a Steve Urkel story, and The Amazing World of Gumball, the movie. So all these are basically getting sold off somewhere else. And I can forgive them for selling off the Steve Urkel thing. I mean, I'm a big fan of Steve Urkel. I grew up on Steve Urkel. And like I used to do Steve Urkel impersonations. Like I'll do one right now. I don't know how good it's going to be. Can I do that? I don't know if you guys heard that, but I used to love watching Family Matters at night in middle school, in the morning before I went off to school. But what's stunning to me, Gumball was a very popular Cartoon Network show. And so basically you're selling off a Cartoon Network property. But the Looney Tunes thing, as well as the Batman thing, like when I think of Warner Brothers, the first two characters I think of are Bugs Bunny and Batman. because growing up, I used to watch Bugs Bunny and Batman a lot. Like, I was a Warner Brothers kid as well as a Disney kid. I used to watch Looney Tunes all the time. I used to watch Batman the Animated Series, Batman 89. So the fact that, like, the two most popular characters at Warner Brothers are not safe. Like, Bugs Bunny is Warner Brothers Mickey Mouse. Could you imagine Disney selling a Mickey Mouse movie to Netflix? That's crazy. This whole situation is crazy. And he reminds me, David Zaslav is reminding me of a couple of people right now. Judge Doom from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the guy that was killing off all the tunes, and Phil Jackson when Phil Jackson was president of the New York Knicks. Now, I don't know if anyone in the chat or who's watching this pays attention to basketball, but when Phil Jackson was president of basketball operations for the New York Knicks back in the mid-2010s, it was kind of similar to David Zaslav. We thought he was going to be the savior, that things were going to be different. But he ended up trading most of the team away for some players that weren't as good and for some draft picks that were promising but never really did that much. I mean, the only promising draft pick that guy drafted was Kristaps Porzingis. Yeah, it's fine, Arkham Gaming. I'm just making a comparison because it's a similar situation that I picked up on. So David Zaslav, similar to Phil Jackson, he's coming in giving false hope, I feel like. Not all false hope, but some false hope. And he's selling off some promising cartoons, canceling some promising movies. And the excuse I'm hearing is they're trying to save money, but in reality, they're just losing out on some money. And the money situation is so bad that only 2 films are coming out this year. Don't Worry, Darling, the Olivia Wilde film with Florence Pugh and Harry Styles, which is going through a lot of drama right now, some bad press right now, and then Black Adam, which I am very excited for. I think Dwayne Johnson's doing a great marketing campaign right now. Let me get to some of the chat before I continue. Yeah, it's a lesser-known product. It's a well-received product, though, from what I've heard. I haven't watched it. That's actually wrong. They're not going to... Yeah, I know they're going to be making the series. It's just I feel like it's kind of weird that they're not going to be on the main streaming services. That's what's puzzling to me. And it makes me wonder, like, what could they actually sell off or, like, let go of an IP? Yeah, I love Steve Urkel. I love Family Matters. What's the difference between basketball? Is David Zaslav owns the company, so you can definitely remove him because he brought the company. Yeah, Phil Jackson was just a president of basketball operations, so he was out the door a few years later because the Knicks were not going anywhere. With David Zaslav, it's like we got to see what's going to happen in the next few years. Now, there is some promising stuff on the DC front that we're going to get into, but right now they're in such bad depth that they can only have 2 films come out, and one of them I don't think is going to do that well at the box office or get that well received because it's receiving bad press. The whole Don't Worry, Darling controversy with Olivia Wilde, her favoritism to her boyfriend, Harry Styles, Florence Pugh, and Olivia Wilde having drama with each other. The whole Shia LaBeouf thing where she said she fired Shia LaBeouf, but then that clip came out that she wanted Shia LaBeouf to stay on the project. It's just a whole big mess with that film, and that's coming out soon. Yes, listen, Daniel. When I was in high school, I remember like I had friends that were Knicks fans that were so disappointed. I've been to a Knick game once under Phil Jackson, and Carmelo Anthony wasn't even playing. I mean, Kristaps Porzingis was playing, but Carmelo was on the bench. It was still a fun game to watch. The Celtics were playing, and it was great to see Isaiah Thomas back when he was on the Celtics, averaging 30 points a game playing. But yeah, no, like I'm getting Phil Jackson vibes from David Zaslav right now. And that's a scary thing to have. Look, Phil Jackson was a great coach. but he was a terrible president. Oh yeah, you can't get rid of him. Yeah, I know you can't get rid of David Zaslav. Phil Jackson you can get rid of because he was a president of basketball operations. But again, what's gonna be a deciding factor with David Zaslav's future could possibly be like if they're gonna get talent. And right now, the talent that he's pushing away is animated talent, in my opinion. Yeah, I know what you mean, Arkham. I understand that. It's a different scenario because they're in two different positions, but the decision making is similar. That's what I'm trying to get at. Yeah, I'm so confused by that. Here's the thing. HBO Max has a big library of movies and stuff. And a big library of animated stuff. So I'm very confused. But again, this was from the previous regime. This was HBO Max was Jason Keelar's baby, essentially. So the rebranding, something's very off there. Here's the thing. What will be very concerning will be once they start getting that reality content on there. That's going to be the big concern. And that's what's annoying. The fact that like David Zaslav seems to prefer his reality content over this animated content that's for everyone, not just for kids, but for young adults, teenagers, families. Like Bugs Bunny can be for anyone. Maybe not Baby Looney Tunes, but the classic Bugs Bunny cartoons were for anyone. Any Batman cartoon is for anyone. So that's why those moves are puzzling. I understand selling the Steve Urkel thing off, maybe the Gumball movie, but the Batman and Looney Tunes stuff is confusing. I feel like Warner Brothers Discovery is screwing over Michael Keaton, scrapping Batgirl, cutting his Aquaman cameo. I mean, come on. I love Keaton. He is Batman. Yeah, I am annoyed about the Batgirl thing. You can probably rework that thing and have it take place in the Burton universe and not what DC universe Walter Hamada wanted to create after the Flash. Because I think that was part of the reason as well. The changes that might be being made to the Flash. Because remember, for like a year or so earlier this year, I think also the end of last year, we were all led to believe that Ben Affleck's Batman was going to get erased in the Flash, and that Michael Keaton's Batman was going to become the DCEU Batman. So I understand. So I feel like this was supposed. First of all, I'm surprised this didn't even get. This didn't even get. Oh my goodness! I'm trying to find the right word. Delayed. That's what it is. Sorry, I got a lot of thoughts in my head right now. Delayed. I'm surprised this didn't get delayed until after the Flash film came out. Batgirl was still supposed to come out later this year. But then I'm like thinking they could just rework this and have this take place in the Burton verse, and maybe this can be like a Batman Beyond scenario. I mean, I would love to see Terry McGinnis Batman Beyond instead. But again, like if you have a good movie and a good story with this iteration of Barbara Gordon, you can make it work in the Burton verse. You can retool the Burton verse or restart the Burton verse with an older version of Batman, an older Bruce Wayne, Michael Keaton mentoring someone else. So that's where I feel like this whole thing was screwed over. As far as the Aquaman thing goes, I mean, apparently his original role in Aquaman 2 was going to be a post-credit scene, so I'm not really that annoyed about that. Yeah, that's a good point as well, Andrew. That's the thing. There's a lot of confusion with what Walter Hamada wanted to do with DC after the Flash. I mean, unless like I don't know, they pull the Marvel thing and say they're identical variants. But here's the thing. Gordon is still going to be younger than Batman. So yeah, you make a good point there, Andrew. But again, I feel like instead of canceling Batgirl, you could have tried reshooting it to fit into the Burtonverse. Yeah, I remember you saying that one time, Arkham. I wouldn't be surprised either. I think Netflix could be the prime candidate to one day get their hands on some DC stuff, at least. I heard the moves they made with AT&T really racked up the debt even more than it already had when they merged with Warner Brothers. So they're trying to get out of debt within those 10 years. Yeah, listen, I don't know how they're working their finances there. I wish I was a fly on the wall, Daniel. But listen, at the end of the day, they got to give us good products. And hopefully Black Adam's the beginning of that. I mean, as much as I love Keaton, his Batman killed Joker and Penguin and Catwoman went MIA. So, huh. Yeah, like this was a different iteration of Batman, and Batman Returns was more, in my opinion, Burton than Batman. Although I still enjoy that film. But I mean, like, they could have probably still found a way to rework it. And if Batgirl wasn't well received and didn't work out, then you just cancel the plans with that. One of a kind. Hey, how's it going? Nobody nobody talks about the fact that we're missing out on what would be the acting return of Brendan Fraser in Batgirl. He would have been my highlight of the movie, to be honest. Yeah, I was looking forward to seeing him as well. Look, Brendan Fraser's had a rough couple of decades in Hollywood, and he's trying to make a comeback. Everyone's rooting for Brendan Fraser. I don't think I've ever heard or met someone that is not rooting for Brendan Fraser. Like, I don't know him. I don't know what celebrities are like in real life, but he seems like one of those celebrities that seems like a really good, nice guy in real life. He's probably the one guy I would love to meet in real life. And yeah, his iteration of Firefly, I'm very curious how he would have been as Firefly. But overall, I'm glad they're not canceling this stuff. But it does kind of seem a little disappointing. But I mean, there's still some promising news going on with DC and all that. We can talk about the real promising news. Let me just share it. Let's see. Okay. Before I read, I'm going to get some comments. They're not canceling any DC animation, and that's a good thing. Same with comic books, but it's just not a priority. But he's not going to sell them. Yeah, no, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I think it's going to depend on the direction of DC these first few years. That I think is going to play a big role. We should be happy that I'm still happy. It's just kind of disappointing that, especially because we're going to get into Matt Reeves after we get into this article. But like the fact that it's a show Matt Reeves is involved in, and the day afterwards they announced that they signed a big deal with Matt Reeves. That's the confusing thing to me as well. Do you think the Batgirl could ever get possibly leaked like Ryan Reynolds may or may not have leaked that Deadpool test footage? You know, that's a good question. I'm convinced that someone at that funeral screening filmed it on their phone. And they're waiting for the right moment to release it. I'm not going conspiratorial. I'm just saying that's my thought. Okay, I don't want to be rude, but I don't know how RJ can like how horrible the MCU has been in Phase 5. Well, listen, he's entitled to his opinion. I've enjoyed many things about Marvel, though it hasn't been my favorite stuff. Although we're still in Phase 4, Andrew, Phase 5, I think, is when we're going to get the more exciting stuff. But I mean, like, in all honesty, for me, I would say the three movies I really, really liked a lot were No Way Home, Spider-Man No Way Home, Shang-Chi, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. To me, those are the three movies that have so far stood out and actually lived up to the expectations, in my opinion. I know a lot of people didn't love Multiverse of Madness, but I had a blast with that film. And as far as the shows go, Honestly, the only shows that have kind of stood out to me so far have been Loki, WandaVision, Hawkeye, and Miss Marvel caught me on by surprise. I enjoyed that one. Okay, I saw they corrected it. Okay. Yes, that's a good thing. Matt Reeves has a big future with DC. And we'll get into that, but we're going to talk about what could be promising for DC, which is they might have a new film. They might have a new film president. Dan Lin. And I don't think this is 100% been confirmed. I think this is still being negotiated. But Dan Lin is looking like it's looking like he's going to be the next Kevin Feige or the Kevin Feige for DC films. Sorry. Yeah, we're all happy Matt Reeves is at least getting more chances. Daniel, you might understand this basketball reference. Matt Reeves right now is Carmelo Anthony for Warner Brothers because he is a high priority and the biggest director star for them right now. Because Nolan left, and I don't think Nolan's going to come back anytime soon, at least. Depending on how Oppenheimer turns out with Universal, that's an exciting movie. I can't wait to see that movie. So yeah, this guy's been involved in many film franchises. Sherlock Holmes. I love the Sherlock Holmes movies from the late 2000s, early 2010s. Sherlock Holmes: A Game of Shadows. I love it with Robert Downey Jr. The Lego franchise, the Lego movie was great. Yeah, and I think this was the guy that was attached to. No, he wasn't the director. It was George Miller, but I think he was attached to George Miller's Justice League Mortal film. Now I saw the costume pictures for that, and they weren't that good of costumes. But at the same time, this isn't the first time that he's been attached to DC. So let's see what else. Say he's been involved in Warner Brothers for a long time. This guy. Oh wow, he's been involved in a lot of stuff. The Departed with Martin Scorsese. That was a great movie. Scooby Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. You know what? We talked about guilty pleasure films before. Before earlier on the stream. The Scooby Doo live action movies are guilty pleasures of mine. They weren't that great, but I can't help but love them. Those were my childhood. Scrappy being a villain kind of killed it for me, but you know what? I love the rest of it. I love the cast. I love seeing the monsters in live action in Scooby Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. But listen, this is promising. Look, I don't hate what Walter Hamada did. I know a lot of people don't like Walter Hamada. He's the boogeyman to some of these guys. But you know what? I enjoyed some of his films. I did enjoy Aquaman, Shazam. I love the Suicide Squad. I enjoyed Birds of Prey for what it was. Really, Wonder Woman 1984 was the one that I was like, good Lord. And yeah, thanks. Yeah, yes, thanks, Daniel Martin. Yeah, he is the best talent that they have. Oh yeah, the turn of Monsters Unleashed when like they were unmasking all the people. Yeah, no, I understand that. I understand that. But no, this is a promising sign, especially because of some of the rumors that are coming out about DC films. Now, the good news is if Michael Keaton's not going to be Batman in the DCEU, they're bringing back Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck's going to return in the next Aquaman film. And it looks like he's back post Flash. So that's pretty good because they're keeping consistency in there. And now the rumors are growing that Henry Cavill might be returning as Superman. Now, this is coming as there's rumors that he might appear in the MCU. I'm not going to get into that. But if Henry Cavill is returning as Superman and Ben Affleck is staying as Batman for the long run in the DCEU, you can still have Ben Affleck as Batman in the DCEU and continue making the the Matt Reeves, Robert Pattinson Batman films. That I would love to see. And maybe that could push Sony into doing something similar with Spider-Man, where you still keep Tom Holland in the MCU and maybe make Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield under the Sony branch. Like, that can work. But back to Henry Cavill, it's rumored he might come back as early as Black Adam. Now, I saw that picture. That's not true. That was not true footage. But I can see them trying to work Henry Cavill in a post-credit scene of Black Adam. And listen, this doesn't mean the Snyderverse is going to get restored or anything, but at least you can keep consistency. You can keep Henry Cavill in the DCEU. You can keep Ben Affleck in the DCEU. You're going to probably take them in a different direction, and there's other reasons why I'm not convinced the Snyderverse is getting restored even with those two back. I thought last year, look, Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck could come back, but they can go in a different direction. And it looks like they're going that direction. Because there's other factors to go into when it comes to the whole restore the Snyderverse thing. It's not just bringing Zack Snyder back. Warner Brothers needs to make a decision about could they bring Ray Fisher back as Cyborg. Because Ray Fisher had made it very clear he ain't doing any more DC movies until Walter Hamada is gone. Now, Walter Hamada is going to leave after Black Adam, but Jeff Johns is still there. And Jeff Johns, I'm pretty sure he hates Jeff Johns as much as he hated Joss Whedon. Now, I don't think Jeff Johns is going to play as big of a role with the films, but that's going to be a very interesting scenario. What's Dan Lin going to do about Ray Fisher? And also, let's say you do the Darkseid story arc, but differently, do you bring back Ray Porter as Darkseid? Do you bring Joe Manganiello in as Deathstroke? You may not have him in a Batman movie, but you can have him appear in like a Suicide Squad movie or something. Will Jesse Eisenberg return as Lex Luthor even with Affleck and Cavill returning? There's other factors that go into this. Yeah, listen, Kevin Feige, regardless of how you feel about Phase 4, Kevin Feige, what he has been able to pull off these past 14 years is hard to pull off. And look, for some of the misfires Phase 4 had, No Way Home delivered. Like, you still had at least one banger of a movie, one banger of an event film in Phase 4 that was Avengers level hype, and it lived up to the hype. Now, granted, Sony also distributed that film and produced it, but still. And he made a surprise film in Shang-Chi. I did not know who Shang-Chi was going into this film, and yet it was one of the best films of Phase 4 and one of the best MCU solo films. So I don't want to put that pressure on Dan Lin, because Dan Lin could be doing a great job, but David Zaslav could tell him to cut costs down. So that's a great situation with Warner Brothers and DC. They can continue to make one-off movies, and have an interconnected universe at the same time. Yeah, they can do that. They can still make Joker movies. They can still make Matt Reeves Batman films, and they can continue with the main DCEU. As long as they're all great movies, I'm excited. Arkham has a question. Do people really think Jeff Johns will ever leave DC? He has a big role in comic books and DC Stargirl and animation. I do think he's not going to be as involved in the films, but I think he's still going to be involved in the TV shows. But here's the thing, I think that's what Ray Fisher is going to have to understand, though, is that unfortunately, Jeff Johns is so key to DC's success with the comics and the TV shows. But I don't think he's going to be involved in the films, or at least as involved in the films. Now, I know people will also bring up Dan Lin making fun of Snyder bots, but as far as that whole thing goes, I'm just not convinced that he's gonna bring Snyder back into the fold just yet. It looks like Snyder's very happy making Rebel Moon. I can't wait for that. That looks like it's gonna be very exciting to watch. Listen, I would love to see Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 and 3. I would love to see that Batman versus Deathstroke film that Ben Affleck was going to make. But listen, as long as we get great movies, let's go for it, because it's not just the Snyder movies I love. I loved Wonder Woman 2017. I like Aquaman, Shazam a lot. I love the Suicide Squad. So as long as we're getting great DC movies, this is promising news. And listen, if Henry Cavill and Ben Affleck come back, that's great. I just want to see a solo Superman movie. That's basically what's driving me crazy. That it's been 9 years since Man of Steel, and since then we have gotten 2 Doctor Strange movies, 2 Guardians of the Galaxy movies. We're getting the third one next year, 2 Ant-Man movies, third one's coming out next year, a Shang-Chi movie, an Eternals movie, a Spider-Man movie with all 3 Spider-Man in it, and yet no solo Superman film. Now, I get it, they're all Marvel movies, but that's the difference between Marvel and DC. Marvel has put themselves in a position where they're not like fixing everything every year, or they're not changing the plan every year. Marvel has a plan and they fall through with that plan, and that's why we're getting all these characters. Arkham, I agree with you on that. I think he's still going to be involved in that stuff. I just hope, listen, I would like to see more Ray Fisher as Cyborg. I hope, that doesn't bother him, that Jeff Johns is still going to be involved in the comic books and TV shows. Hopefully, as long as he's not involved in the films, that's good for Ray. Yeah, he's always going to be with DC. That I agree with. Yeah, I heard the Green Lantern show is going to be still around. I would love to see a proper Green Lantern film, though. That I would love to see. I just got to thank all these guys in the chat. They are keeping me going right now, because I was so nervous going into this, but the guys in the chat, Arkham Gaming, Daniel Martin, Andrew Casali, CJ8 at the beginning, One of a Kind, ASMR. You guys have been awesome in the chat so far. So major props to you guys, because again, this is my first stream, so I'm very nervous, but you guys are keeping me going right now. I do want to address, before I get into the Matt Reeves thing, Warner Brothers might be losing Legendary. So apparently, Legendary and might go to Sony or Paramount. I don't know how true that is. I can see them going to Paramount, though. Sony, I don't know about that. It's kind of stinks, though, because Legendary has been so important to DC's success. Remember, they helped distribute the Dark Knight trilogy. They helped distribute Superman Returns, Watchmen, Man of Steel, some of the early DC movies before the DCEU became a thing. They distributed a lot of Nolan films. And we know Nolan's gone, so yeah, that's part of the reason. But also, they're very key to the Monsterverse and the Dune movies. And I know Monsterverse and Dune aren't as big for WB as DC, Harry Potter have been. But still, they did pretty good in the box office last year, even with that whole HBO Max release thing. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think this is going to affect Dune Part 2 in the next Godzilla vs. Kong film. But if they are truly heading for separation, Legendary and Warner Brothers, this is another problem that Warner Brothers is going to have. Yes, I agree. Listen, Henry Cavill's great as Superman. I love Man of Steel. And look, even if it's directed by Matthew Vaughn or James Gunn, like rumors in the past to it, I want to see another Superman movie. Superman, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, and Wolverine were my 4 favorite superheroes growing up. I used to watch the Superman animated series all the time, as well as the Justice League animated series. He's an important character. And since I was born in 96. Since 96, we've gotten several Spider-Man and Batman movies. We've gotten a trilogy of Wolverine movies, and Wolverine appeared in several X-Men movies. And Batman has also been in a few movies that weren't his. And Spider-Man's also been in a few movies that weren't his. Superman, we've only gotten like 2 solo Superman films. Superman Returns, which probably should not have happened. They should have just rebooted it instead of trying to continue Christopher Reeves. And Man of Steel, and I love Man of Steel. I didn't love it as much when I first saw it, but the more I rewatched it, the more I appreciated the film. And yeah, he's been in Batman vs. Superman and both versions of Justice League, but a solo Superman film. And I want to see Superman's rogue gallery utilized. I want to see Brainiac, Metallo. I want to see some of these villains, even Toyman as a secondary, introduction to the film villain that Superman stops at the beginning of the film. Don't get me wrong, I love Michael Shannon as General Zod in Man of Steel. I think he's the best villain in the DCEU that we've had. Best villain performance. But damn, we need to get a Superman movie with other Superman villains in it. Let's do this. Let's get another Superman movie. Next year, we're going to have our third Ant-Man movie and our third Guardians of the Galaxy movie. And those are two of my most anticipated movies. I'm looking forward to those. I love the first Guardians of the Galaxy film. I like the first Ant-Man film a lot. I like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 a lot. But come on, DC, if Marvel can get all these heroes their third movies, you could get another Superman movie. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad we're seeing other DC heroes getting their fair shot. I like Shazam. I like Aquaman. I can't wait for those sequels. I can't wait to see Blue Beetle come out next year. But let's get Superman back on the big screen. The world needs a Superman movie. Superman is a symbol of hope. No, one of a kind. Says DCEU is still a chicken with its head cut off, running around, knocking into walls at the point. It's disappointing, but it is what it is. Yeah, but hopefully with Dan Lin, we can establish order and a plan. Now, Zaslot said something about a 10-year plan for DC. Let's hope for the best. Now, we know there's no DC fandom. Either yesterday or Wednesday, yesterday it was announced that it was canceled, which isn't surprising. But on all honesty, what are you going to announce? There's a lot of uncertainty. Like, all you're going to do is really hype up next year's movies. Oh, thanks, Daniel Martin. Yeah, listen, like this is my first time going solo, so I'm nervous. It's easy when I'm not as nervous when I'm talking to other people, but just going about it alone live, because I'm always worried I'm going to mess up live. Thank you, though. Thank you. Yeah, they played a big role in Warner Brothers' success. Like I said, they were key to the Christopher Nolan movies that we were getting. Yeah, we need more than Lex and Zod. We keep going back to that. And I know we got Doomsday and BVS, but I still think it was too early for that. And I enjoy the Ultimate Edition of BVS, Batman vs. Superman. But I feel like Doomsday should have been the villain to like close out a Superman trilogy. And when Superman's dead at the end of his trilogy, then you bring him back for like the next big event Justice League movie they have coming out around then. That's how I would personally do things. But again, I'm not in the industry. It would be cool if I was. But yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty with DC, but if this whole Dan Lin thing gets finalized, that should be important. Legendary. On the topic of Legendary, before I get into Matt Reeves, I will say I can see them going to Paramount more than Sony, because Paramount's coming back strong. Like Top Gun Maverick, no one expected that film to be the second highest grossing film post-pandemic after Spider-Man No Way Home. Like, this film has made more money than Jurassic World Dominion, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, The Batman, the 9th Fast and Furious film that came out last year. Like, these are all movies that before the pandemic we thought were going to make $1 billion worldwide. We never thought Top Gun Maverick would ever make $1 billion worldwide. Yet this movie's breaking records, and it was a phenomenal movie. No one expected it to be this phenomenal. So Paramount's got this big success on their hands. And yeah, they got the Quiet Place franchise. That's a really great franchise that's coming up. They got Star Trek. If there's a YouTuber that knows so much about Star Trek, it's Brian Master of None, one of the biggest Star Trek fans I've ever gotten to meet. Great guy. But yeah, I can see Legendary going to Paramount because Paramount's been pretty strong, actually, in my opinion, these last couple years. And listen, they have a Transformers film coming out next year. If that Transformers movie turns out to be pretty good, after all we put up with Michael Bay, with his sequels, that's going to be good for Paramount. Throwing Legendary in there, it's going to be even bigger for them. Oh, thanks, Daniel Martin. Yeah, that was my longest article on why we need a Superman film, because that was a passion article for me. And ironically enough, that as I was writing that, that's when the rumors of Superman coming back started. I was talking about Top Gun Maverick because that's been a big success this year, and no one expected it to be not just as good as it was, but to be very successful. Yeah, no, Tom Cruise. Listen, regardless of how people feel about the man, he's very passionate about the theater experience. And look, I had a fun theater experience. Like my local theater, we have Apex theaters. They're like kind of half IMAX, but like the sound, it's really the sound that makes the theater experience great. It was phenomenal. Like it was a fun theater experience. And yeah, it's still playing and it's still breaking records. Listen, tomorrow is $3. Like movie tickets are $3. I already said I'm going to see Jaws in IMAX. If you haven't seen Top Gun Maverick and you can spare $3, go see it tomorrow, guys. Go see Top Gun Maverick. It is worth it. It is worth it. Even if you didn't like the first Top Gun or even didn't even see the first Top Gun, go watch it. This is why we love movies. Don't get me wrong. I love watching superhero films on the big screen and like the big like franchise films like Star Wars, Jurassic Park in theaters as well. But it's movies like Top Gun Maverick that really make the movie theater experience special. And it's a legacy sequel done right. We've seen legacy sequels be phenomenal, but not make a lot of money at the same time. This movie is making tons of money. I mean, look at Blade Runner 2049. That was a great sequel, but it didn't make a lot of money. Mad Max Fury Road, phenomenal film. One of my favorite films to come out in the last 10 years. It made okay money. I think you're going to love it, Daniel. It was a fun movie. And listen, like, I'm going to be honest, I'm not the biggest Tom Cruise fan, but I love his movies. I love a lot of his movies. I love the Mission Impossible movies, at least 4, 5, and 6. But yeah, no, you're going to love it. Miles Teller is phenomenal in that film. He is phenomenal in Top Gun Maverick. Like, people bring up his experience in Fan Four Stick. Watch Whiplash. He was phenomenal in Whiplash, and he's phenomenal in this film as well. So I'll close out this article because I'm going to close this thing out with the Matt Reeves deal. We're going to get into the Matt Reeves deal because this is, to me, the big win for Warner Brothers. So I'm going to share it. No. So, despite all the craziness that's been going on with Warner Brothers, the uncertainty, one thing that's not getting canceled is Matt Reeves. He has signed a new deal, and it looks like not only is his Batman movie sequels are going to be safe, but it also looks like that his spin-off shows like the Penguin Show are going to be safe for now. Okay, so I want to get to the comments before I continue. Yes, I agree. Superman deserves a movie trilogy, but I also think the IP of Superman was damaged by Snyder. We need the perception of Snyder fixed when the. I mean, I get it. Snyder's version of Superman wasn't for everyone. Listen, I still think Christopher Reeve's Superman film is better, or I enjoy that film more. Listen, you can take Superman in a different direction with Henry Cavill. It's very possible. So I think they're going to do that if Henry Cavill is 100% returning. And listen, I think enough time has healed. Like the new Superman and Lois show, I think has helped heal or change the perception of Superman. Man, bring that Superman that people want to see. So, but I understand your point though. I think like how Superman has been perceived. To me, I think BVS played more of a role with that than Man of Steel. Unless you're yeah, Snyder did direct BVS. I keep forgetting. Yeah, I think it was more BVS and how Superman was handled in that film that kind of changed things for how people perceived him. I mean, Denny Villeneuve, I think he did pretty good financially with Dune, considering it was also out on HBO Max when it came out in theaters. Yeah, Denny Villeneuve, like this guy to me is up there with Nolan with making phenomenal films. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever seen the film Arrival. That is a phenomenal movie. A phenomenal movie that I highly recommend. One of the best original films to come out in the last 10 years. And I love Dune. In fact, like I'm starting to read the book finally. I got the book around Christmas. I haven't had the time to read it, and I'm finally reading it. And I like the book so far. I'm looking forward to Dune Part 2 next year. So, back to Matt Reeves, another great director. So, they kind of want to they hope that he's kind of similar to how Todd Phillips has been for them with Joker and The Hangover. I'm hoping more so the Joker than The Hangover. Like I like the first Hangover, but the sequels, But listen, Matt Reeves, I've been rooting for this guy since he got the job because I love his Planet of the Apes movies. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War for the Planet of the Apes are two of my favorite films to have come out in the last 10 years. Like I like Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I had a great time with that film, but Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, that felt like Dark Knight for Planet of the Apes to me. And War for the Planet of the Apes was a great conclusion. Now, Dawn is my personal favorite, but War was so epic. Let's see. Listen, Brandon Routh was a good Superman. He should have been Superman in a reboot instead of them doing Superman Returns. They should have kept Brendan Routh. Sorry, not Ruth. Brendan Routh. And they should have done a reboot of Brandon Routh. I would like to see him in a multiverse film. Maybe he can come back in a multiverse film. Yeah, Arrival is fantastic. Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner were great in that film. And visually, it was great. I'm not going to lie. The first time I saw Arrival, that was actually the first Denis Villeneuve film I ever watched. I thought it was a Christopher Nolan film. Like, I don't know. I got like vibes of like Inception, but with aliens with the film. Okay, yeah, BVS. Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot. I keep forgetting Snyder also directed BVS. Yeah, for some reason people are invested in Evil Superman, but I think Injustice had also played a role in that. So, yeah, I don't want them to rely heavily on Evil Superman. I want to see like the Superman that we all know and love. Oh yeah, I remember that as well. He did get a second chance though by playing Kingdom Come Superman though. But I would like to see him like in a multiverse film as well. Like come back. But yeah, back to Matt Reeves. No. Okay, so all right, so back to Matt Reeves. So he's happy to be here. Making this legendary studio my home is a dream that he said. And you know what? It makes sense because the Batman didn't need to make $1 billion to be a success. It did very well. It got very good reviews. The audience well received it as well. Not everyone, but many did. They did a very good job marketing this film. I thought Pattinson was great. I thought Zoe Kravitz was great. Uh, Colin Farrell, like, oh my goodness, like him as Penguin. If that makeup work does not get acknowledged at an award show, then you really know you can't take those shows seriously. You shouldn't take them seriously to begin with, but let's be real, that deserves a nomination. And I'm looking forward, and that's why I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with a Penguin show and an Arkham show, because I trust Matt Reeves. He earned my trust with how he handled the Planet of the Apes movies. So I'm very happy that this happened, that this is the talent that they're at least prioritizing. I'm yeah, I don't want them to rely on evil Superman 2 Arkham. There's so much more Superman than, oh, what if he becomes evil? Like, I hate the perception of people saying Superman is boring. Here's the thing, if you like, people can do Superman right and unboring. It depends on who's doing it and the work that they're going to put into it. If you can get someone to put effort into Superman the same way Sam Raimi put effort into Spider-Man, the same amount of effort that Christopher Nolan put into Batman, the same amount of effort James Gunn has put into his Guardians of the Galaxy films, if you can find someone like that that was as passionate, you can make a really great Superman film. Yeah, that's always been. I enjoyed some things about Smallville, but uh, that'd be interesting to see, though. Yeah, Colin Farrell was great as Penguin, and like that was the casting choice that I was critical of. I wasn't critical of Zoe Kravitz or Robert Pattinson. I trusted those. I trusted them. It was Colin Farrell as Penguin. I was like, how are you gonna make this nice looking guy look like the Penguin? And they pulled it off. They pulled it off and did a great job. And he did a great job in that role. And I'm glad we're going to see more of him. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I know a lot of people aren't crazy of another realistic take on Batman. But here's the thing. Like, I like the noir detective feel of the movie. Like, this film, the Batman really embraced Batman being a detective. Something that I feel like has been lacking from film for quite some time. So I'm glad that we're kind of going back to those roots of Batman. Yeah. Listen, Jack Nicholson was great as Joker, and his design was the best. Look, I love Heath Ledger as Joker. That's my favorite, but I like Jack Nicholson's performance. I love that the Party Man scene in Batman '89, though, where he's ruining all that art. I wonder what all the art fanatics thought when they first saw that scene. Like, he's ruining all this art. Gentlemen, let's broaden our minds. Lawrence? But I do agree. I would like to see Brandon Ralph and Tom Welling get another shot. Let's see. And the thing is, a lot of people were worried about the Penguin show because a lot of television shows on the streaming services, there was a lot of uncertainty with that. So it looks like this stuff is safe. Now, as far as stuff like Peacemaker goes, I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see, but this looks like it's going to be safe. And I'm glad. And listen, maybe Matt Reeves doesn't have to just do Batman movies for the studio. There's probably other things they're going to probably have him do. I mean, they're probably going to hold on. I wouldn't be surprised if they hold on to him, just like they held on to Christopher Nolan beyond his Dark Knight trilogy. Yeah, I mean, it's not as realistic as the Dark Knight trilogy. Like that, I will admit, it's not as realistic as the Dark Knight trilogy. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see what they're going to do with the sequels. I would love to see Mr. Freeze in the next film. Like, that's a character that I think needs a redemption. You can do Mr. Freeze very well. Batman the Animated Series did a fantastic job with Mr. Freeze. Yeah, I remember that. I gotta rewatch Watchmen. It's been ages since I've rewatched it. Uh, I'll be honest, Andrew. I never really watched Gotham. Like when I get some time, I gotta watch. There's a lot of TV shows I gotta watch and catch up on. I am curious how they're gonna handle Joker in this universe. That I'm curious about. And I'm curious, like, what other Batman characters are going to be introduced. Like, when are they going to introduce Robin? What direction is Bruce Wayne going to go in? But listen, I'm happy Matt Reeves is staying on because look, this guy's a great director. And forget about all the rumors that you heard from a certain Overlord DVD on a certain corner of YouTube, who I saw was ranting about the new Lord of the Rings show today. Forget about what Overlord DVD thinks. I ain't gonna say his full name, but I mean, like, listen, I don't even trust that guy's scoops about Star Wars. But yet he's like claiming that there was tension between Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson. I'm sure the chat knows who I'm talking about if they've been watching all the other channels. Like Overlord DVD basically said that there was tension between Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson. It's like, not with the direction things are going here. So he was proven wrong. And oh yeah, that I'm not gonna even get to the other stuff that he talked about with the Batman. But as far as a Overlord DVD, so this guy's from the Phantom Menace. I'll just say his name on here, Doomcock. I'm sure I don't know if you heard of Doomcock Arkham Gaming. Doomcock was making up a bunch of rumors about the Batman, saying that there was fights between Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson, like that there was a lot of tension, and like they were going to get rid of Robert Pattinson or Matt Reeves after the film came out. Like he was breaking those kind of like sources. This guy lies about everything. So yeah, no, Doomcock. He's from the Phantom Menace. He was like last year making up all these stories about like tension on the Batman set. I'll get into that in another video. But yeah, no, Doomcock. That's what he's called. He's part of the Phantom Menace group, Arkham Gaming. If you've heard the Phantom Menace, they're like the anti-SJW channels. I would love to see a Catwoman series. Zoe Kravitz was great in that role. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that Arkham Asylum series as well. Oh, that would be a big event film, getting all the Batman together. Listen, Daniel Martin, I remember Enosh on the Poindexter Lounge, his 2 cents on nonsense. I think he covered some of this stuff last year with Johnny Pop on 2 cents on nonsense. Like that's the only way I would watch those videos, just to watch those guys roast him. That yes, Arkham, he does this all the time. His stuff about Star Wars. Listen, I'm gonna probably do a separate stream about the Phantom Menace because I used to watch these guys and I broke away from watching them in 2019, and I'm do a separate stream on that. But yeah, this guy, like, he's always making stuff up, and Kathleen Kennedy on the chopping block. Oh my goodness. This would be cool to see, Andrew. This, like, I would like to see the Superman together. And Tyler's great as Superman. That I will say. But yeah, no, like literally, this guy lies. And there's another liar online that I'm gonna get into before I close out. I wanted to go an hour and 30 minutes at most, but I'm gonna show the one guy that's gonna suffer a major loss from all this. So I'm gonna get rid of this. And let me make sure I still have it pulled up. So let's share screen. So Batman Gate guy is the biggest loser of this whole Matt Reeves deal. So for those of you who don't know, this guy's claiming that Matt Reeves and WB stole his script for the Batman. Stole it. When meanwhile, basically, this guy's script, I'm not going to go through the whole thing because I'm going to end the stream soon, but basically, this guy's script nailed every single Batman aspect. How Gordon's the only non corrupt cop in Gotham, though there's corruption everywhere. Like, some of these plot points that he brought up was seen in the Dark Knight trilogy, and yet he's not complaining to Christopher Nolan. Like, literally, this guy's a liar in my opinion. And the usual suspects are believing this guy. And by usual suspects, I'm not going to mention their names, but they know who they are. And I'm sure you guys know who they are. Yes, Andrew, that's exactly what he is doing. This won't end until I get my money and people recognize me. And yet he closed out his fundraiser, his Patreon, whatever it was, his GoFundMe when Matt Reeves signed the new deal. And yet 2 days ago, he's saying, this is not over. I'm not giving up. Yeah, I can't stand. I'll get into this in a separate stream one day, Arkham. But yeah, I agree with you there. Yeah, and the thing is that the usual suspects believe this man. And yet this man has shown he has a bias towards Snyder's films. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Snyder's movies, and I do have friends in the Snyder fandom. But the diehards, the ones that really take it too far, they're taking this on a whole different level. And they're believing this guy. And I just want to ask the question, if Ben Affleck's Batman movie did happen, and this guy was making similar claims about Ben Affleck's Batman movie, would these people believe him? I don't think so. I don't think so. Yeah, this guy's a glue sniffer. That's basically what I said, and I'll show my retweet of it if I can find it. Oh, I see Max. So here I am, and then I asked the question, what in fresh hell is this? This is the definition of grifting, kids. And don't sniff glue. That guy's a glue sniffer, in my opinion. That's my nice way of saying don't be a whatever. He is grifting on a new level. He is. And look, I can understand not liking the Batman. It's not everyone's Batman movie. But what this guy's doing is just bizarre. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Arkham. Look, I'm a Snyder fan that loves most of the other DC stuff. I would say the only other DC movie that I don't like, really don't like anymore, because I did like it the first time I saw it, but looking back, and revisiting it, it's the only DC movie that I don't like post Snyder is Wonder Woman 1984. Everything else I've enjoyed, even Birds of Prey. Thanks, Daniel. And look, at the end of the day, this guy, he's going to keep his grift on. I'm surprised he hasn't blocked me, but then again, I'm surprised Grace Randolph didn't block me when I kind of retweeted her dumb tweet about Sophie's Choice, which was in poor taste. Unfortunately, she blocked Mad Max movies because Max called her out for how she's being overly critical towards other women. No, I don't think Matt Reeves did anything to him. I think he's just trying to capitalize on Matt Reeves' success. That's what I think he's trying to do, Andrew. And in Arkham, yeah, they want to destroy Matt Reeves' vision just to get Ben's Batman movie. Look, I'm open to any vision. Look, I love Snyder's movies, but you know what? I love a lot of Marvel movies. I love a lot of movies of different tones and all that. So I don't know what this guy's deal is, but listen, I'm happy Matt Reeves got this new deal. He deserves it. And for a Batman Gate guy, I wish this guy for the best. But I don't know. The grift that this guy is doing, that this individual is doing. It's sad and pathetic. You're fine, Arkham. You're fine. I do this all the time. I type too fast and put the wrong word in as well, buddy. Um, but yeah, I think I'm probably going to end it here. I actually went a bit longer than I thought I was going to, but yeah, this was a fun stream to do. I was very nervous going into this stream, but I just want to thank my awesome chat. Uh, Daniel Martin, Arkham Gaming, Andrew Casali, CJH, One of a Kind. Uh, you guys really helped me out, keeping me going and on this stream. So I want to thank you guys as well. And I always appreciate your support, guys. Thanks, Arkham. Thank you very much. Oh, listen, Andrew. How do you think I got into movie talk? Following Spider-Man 4 when it was announced in 2008. Yeah, I was disappointed as well. Listen, I will probably do a stream on Spider-Man 4 and why it was canceled and what could have happened one of these days. I will do a stream on that. Not immediately, but one day I will, because listen, you want to know how I got into following movie news? It was this. This was like right before I went to middle school. It was the summer right before I went back to middle school. I was on Google and I was looking up something about Spider-Man. I saw Spider-Man 4 and I was like, "Oh wow." And I would watch all these Spider-Man 4 fake trailers. I was going down like a rabbit hole. I'm going to share this in another stream down the road, but yeah, and I got some more things to address in the chat. Okay, here's a question before you end it. Do you think so? I think there's fan entitlement everywhere. I think it's worse with some DC fans because we got the Snyder Cut, and I helped push for the Snyder Cut. I wanted the Snyder Cut, and I'm glad we got it. I love it, but I think they just wanted more. But the thing is that here's the thing to understand. I feel like this is what I believe. The Snyder Cut, Jason Kilar approved it to get more subscribers to HBO Max. That's what I think he did. And look, I have no regrets. I'm glad we got to see it because I loved it. It was one of my top 3 favorite movies last year. It was my 3rd favorite movie behind No Way Home and Dune. But the way some of these fans are acting, hashtagging all the time, I get passion, but then there's overdoing it. Like, here's the thing. I know some of you are passionate. Andrew Casali, he's very passionate about Edward Norton Hulk, Sam Raimi Spider-Man, and Batman 89. But when I talk to him about it, he doesn't go overboard. I know some people think he goes overboard, but when I talk to Andrew, he keeps it very calm and is very honest with me about it. And thank you, Andrew. Thank you very much. And I hope to have you on one of these streams down the road. And I just want to thank you for help keeping me going on this stream, buddy. Thank you, Daniel Martin. Listen, you guys helped me out as well. I was very nervous going into this stream. But yeah, as far as DC fans go, I get passion, but I think they take it too far. And at the end of the day, I'm glad we got the Snyder Cut, but I'm also very excited for the future of DC. I love the Suicide Squad. That was another one of my favorite movies that came out last year. The Batman is so far my favorite movie of this year. And I'm looking forward to all the DC stuff. And listen, if Snyder does come back, I will welcome it back. But I'm looking forward to the other stuff. Yeah, listen, if I ever do like an arc, definitely if I do like a stream on the Arkham games, you're definitely gonna be one of the first people I'm gonna invite on. And also for like other Batman stuff as well. Arkham Gaming is great with his Batman knowledge. If you haven't subscribed to Arkham Gaming, check out his content. He does great, and he's also great when he comes on Aaron World Order streams. He's a great contributor to Aaron's channel as well. But yeah, check out Arkham's channel, guys. Yeah, that's what I thought as well. I wasn't expecting this big demand for this movie. Well, not the movie, for more movies. So, yeah, I think it just kind of went overboard. But here's the thing. I think Warner Brothers also plays a role in this because Ann Sarnoff, she had that article come out way too quickly. I think she should have waited a couple of months to say we're not going to continue it. I think having that come out right after the film came out pissed off a lot of fans. But oh wow, an hour and 40 minutes. Wow, I went longer than I thought I was going to. But yeah, no, this was a lot of fun, and this was a great stream, a great talk, and you guys gave me some great questions. So enjoy the rest of your Friday. I hope to see you guys real soon, and be on the lookout for some reviews. I don't know when my next stream is going to be, but as I said at the beginning of the stream, these streams are most likely going to be on weekends, and if they're on a weekday, it's going to be a weekday that I have off or something. But yeah, until next time, guys, take care and enjoy your weekend. And go watch a movie for $3 tomorrow. Take care, everyone.